we saw that whether we're speaking about the judiciary or we speak about the media or even the civil society, is that the rhetoric which has been used from government representative, not only towards people from the opposition, where you could imagine that it would be a rhetoric between politicians, but the rhetoric that is being used is not only very grave as far as I'm concerned. It has used elements of words which are not accepted even in the political arena, but it also is focused sometimes towards judiciary system, which is, for example, calling judges by name when there is a decision which is not accepted, which, of course, when you are allowing this in an environment and towards judges, for example, you would create a climate which is not favorable, for balance of power, which is not favorable for independence of judges. We have seen, or we have heard the same from the media world. Media world is also targets from time to time from this difficult rhetoric, and I would like to point out that those rhetorics could lead also to endangering journalists, because if you allow aggressive rhetorics against journalists, you open a door to other things. Doesn't mean you are responsible for other things, but you open this door. And I believe, I've been Prime Minister myself or Minister myself in a government, that we have a responsibility towards the media, since independent media is also one of the guarantee of the democratic value. Last but not least, it can also have a chilling effect on those media who would not dare to really go towards their investigation or towards their criticism if necessary, because it's not always necessary to critics, that's another point, which is also counterproductive for democracy point. Same goes with civil society and individual liberties. I would like now to go through 3 different points, which are the findings that we have had. First of all, around justice. Justice, first, the point that we are mentioning is that there is no national anti-corruption strategy, which we are waiting for that. So, of course, you all understand that I'm going to mention the reform of the criminal court. Abolition of the special prosecutor office with the dilution, actually, of the work between 8 entities. Everybody had the opportunity to explain the why. We are definitely concerned about it, and I will explain you why. The second point is the restructuring of the National Crime Agency from NACA to UBOC, with, as a matter of consequences, a leave of expertise that we have found as well in the abolition of the special prosecutor office. Is it a leave of expertise because of, for example, in the NACA case, pension or other reason? The reality remains that the lack of expertise is now felt, really, and it does have a repercussion on the quality of the whole judicial process. Statute of limitation, which has been diminished for corruption. Of course, there are big concerns about the fact that it might have led to the drop of several cases, which is always contradictory to what should be done. Article 363, that you all know, Article 363, which gives for us too much power to the Prosecutor General with zero safeguard. When I say zero safeguard, is that the decision can be made without external safeguard, which is a point that has been raised through the rule of law report, a point that we have addressed many occasions, asked if there was a will to install those safeguards. Government is on the idea that it's not necessary, which is not our point of view, since when you are using the Article 363, actually, as a matter of consequences, the whole process can be slowed down. Therefore, you absolutely need to have external safeguard. last but not least, as far as the judiciary is concerned, is the use of fast-track procedure when the reform of the criminal code was done. You understand that when you use fast-track procedure, it can be used actually under the law and under certain circumstances. But in this case, even the constitutional law has expressed that the fast-track procedure was not appropriate in that circumstances. And it is very important. It's just not a technicality of the parliament. Why is it important? Because you have to give the time to the parliament to study the documents, to see what impacts those rules have, but you also have to give the time for appropriate debate, pro arguments and against argument. If you don't do that, you are actually bypassing a very big aspect of democracy. So sometimes it happens. The question that we are raising is that the fact that fast-track procedures are concerned, they are used too often. About the media now. So as you know, we have met representative of the media. As you know also, there are broad concern about the transformation of the former public broadcaster RTVS into STVR, where there is concern and discussions about the members who were dismissed and then replaced, with, as a consequences, a fear of reducing editorial pluralism. It's a trend that raises, I think, legitimate fears about the shrinking space of critical journalism, the weakening of public media ability to foster open debate and diverse point of view, both essential to a healthy democracy. I go back to the safety of journalists. I've talked about it at the beginning of my talk about what we consider to be a negative climate and rhetoric against them. It has to say that the information that we have received is that, in fact, indeed, this transforms into the reality, in the objective reality of more attacks against journalists, not only, of course, from the government. I'm not speaking about that now. I'm speaking about the safety in general, the increases of SLAP. Also was reporting that some journalists have really difficulty to access information or real debate with the politic in place. This is, of course, the words of the journalists. When we are addressing those questions to the government, they have another way of saying, but it is true that for us, this is raising legitimate concern. Civil society now, you will not be surprised that I will be addressing the NGO law that has been passed very recently, where it is requested for NGOs to give, publicize the name of the donors of a certain amount. We are concerned about the fact that it gives excessive administrative burden, particularly to small organizations. But above it, we are questioning the whole issue of the right of privacy. And we are wondering if this aligns with the data protection standards that we have all to follow. As a direct consequences of this kind of law, you might also find out that donors are less keen to make their donation because, of course, we all have the right to privacy. We all have the right to give without being known, just because maybe some people doesn't want people to know what their inclinations are as far as NGO. And it could really has a strong impact on the financing. Last but not least, what's going on for the moment, the new constitutional amendment, which is now in discussion. It is not clear for us if it's going to find a majority in the parliament. I heard that discussions are made. We are not here to speak about the political consequences of it, but more the consequences on the rule of law, specifically speaking about the constitutional amendment who affirms the supremacy of Slovak law over EU law in the matter of identity, etc. We have really big question mark about its compatibility with Article 2 of the EU treaty and the principle, of course, of the primacy of the EU law, which is normally the rule. So, conclusion, it is, I'm going to conclude with an answer to a question that I received when we arrived here. Somebody asked me, is Slovakia the next Hungary? To be very honest, I cannot answer that question very definitely. But what is sure is that there are a lot of signs that we are taking, that they are taking the same path, which is worrying.